Okay, Tov. Today's daf is Chaf Aleph, and we got up to V'yesh Schus Tola Shalosh Shonim. So you'll see that the two dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines down from the top. Schus demai. What schus exactly will protect her, even if she's guilty, when she drinks the Meimor? Elam is schus de Torah. The Gemara is not happy with the study of Torah that she occupied herself with Torah. Ha'ena mitzuva v'osahi. Since the Torah says, "Li'madatem osam es b'nechem," and the Gemara says, "Kedusha chavtesem beis b'nechem v'lo b'nosechem," she's an ena mitzuva al kach, so she doesn't get the schar, the reward of a mitzuva, because gadol ha-mitzuva v'yoser yoser mimisha ena mitzuva v'yoser. And the Gemara is going to establish later on that his chus of a mitzvah does not have the power to protect her on a temporary basis. And the Gemara thinks that the chus of Torah of an enam mitzvah v'oseh, maybe it could size up to shar mitzvahs, maybe, but even so, it's ein kocho rav lahagen el lefisha. It cannot really protect her, because we'll see a mitzvah is not enough. El mitzvah is schus the mitzvah. And the Gemara says, schus the mitzvah mi magna kulihai. Does a schus of a mitzvah have the skula power to protect her? But Tanya, we learned in a brisa, es zo dorash Rabbi Menachem Bar Yossi. So looking at a very, very famous pasuk in Mishlei Perek Vav, ki ner mitzvah v'torah or. Mitzvah is compared to a ner, and Torah to or. Why? And the mashal is mitzvah b'ner lo malacha ma ner eina megina el lefisha, so that the power of a mitzvah to protect a person who implements a mitzvah is only very, very short-lived, very temporary. Af mitzvah eina megina lefisha. So the mitzvah, like the ner, which lasts for a while, but then the ner goes out, is a mashal for a mitzvah, which is only capable of protecting you for that very short period of time. And then the second part of the pasuk gives us a mashal of or for Torah. And what is that? And vesatorah ba'or lo melcha ma'or magin li olam af Torah megina li olam. The schus of Torah protects a person not just momentarily and temporarily, but forever. It's an eternal protection. So just like a ner only lights during the night and not during the day, so a mitzvah does not have a permanent ability to protect a person. Sometimes it might protect him in this world, sometimes in the next world. And furthermore, just like a ner only lights for a short period of time, that means even at night, it's only for a limited period of time. As long as there's enough oil in the ner, so to a schus mitzvah does not protect except for a short, limited period of time. Schus HaTorah, on the other hand, gives us a light and a permanent protection. It's like the sun that's me'er olam. The Omer, 1 second, sorry. The Omer, we have another pasuk in Mishlei that indicates the power of the Torah to protect a person both in this world and in the next. This pasuk is very familiar to us from a siyum when we finish a Masechet, v'salecha tancha osach, and then it says b'shalbecha tishmar alecha v'kitzosa kihi se sichacha. So we darshan as follows: b'salecha tancha osach ze'olam. So his halchus here And the protection offered by Torah is in this world, but b'shalbecha, meaning after you die and you're in the next world, tishmar lecha zo misa, and it means that even when a person dies and he's buried underground, nevertheless the Torah is still protecting him. Vakitzosa hi tesichecha li asid lava. And this is a reference to Tchias HaMesim, when a person will stand for judgment, the Torah and the Schus HaTorah will protect him. Now we're about to embark upon a mashal, which the Gemara, for quite an extended period of time, is going to analyze every single part of this mashal. The mashal is very complex, and it's made up of many different segments. So this person, Ishon Laila means the darkest part of the night. Ve'afela, and it's pitch dark. Umisyare, and he's afraid of many different possible dangers that lurk in the shadows. Number one, minakotzim, and number two, minapchasim. So kotzim is sort of like a general term that includes all sorts of thorns. And pchasim are the holes in the ground, the kind of ditches or gumos, as we call them, that he could fall into. Umina barkonim. Barkonim is a specific type of a coats, of a thorn. Umichaya ra, and more overwhelming is the fear of wild animals. Umina listim, and perhaps the greatest fear is from moridas, from human beings that attack people. Some of them are even cannibals. He's lost his way. However, here's the good news. He comes upon a torch that gives him light. Number one, now he can see and be careful not to fall into ditches and not to scratch himself with dangerous thorns. Now the Chaya Ra and the listim could attack him even at night, and even if he's holding a torch. And furthermore, he doesn't have a definite understanding of which direction he should be going. Is he on the right road? And all this is a mashal for what we call schus ha-mitzvah. The schus ha-mitzvah is being compared by simile to an avuka, to a torch. And although it does protect him from some of the dangers, but not from all. And it can protect him from dangers of the like of kotzim, pchasim, ubarkonim. And we'll see the Maharsha is going to tell us what these symbolize. So what does he need? He needs something a lot more than just an avuka, which is the schus of a mitzvah. He needs the schus of Torah. And kevan sha'ol amud hashachar, with the rise of the morning star, nitzal michaya ra min alistim. And not only that, he is saved from, and this is a mashal for schus Torah, which is compared to or, which is compared to the light of day. He will be protected from chet and from yisurim, from sin and from punishment. Now, we'll have to see what this part of the mashal is all about, but in the mashal, he finally reaches what's called a Parshas Drachim, which means that he gets to a point in a fork in the road. He can either turn to his right or to his left, and now hikir es darko. So the Parshas Drachim allows him to recognize which is the right path that he should be traveling on. And he's now saved from everything. Now, what is Parshas Drachim in the Nimshal? So the Marsha says the Parshas Drachim is a mashal for Yom HaMisa, and even though, again, we had the point in which he would reach the Alos HaShachar, and that's the Torah, and as a result of Zchus HaTorah, he overcame the dangers of Chayra and Listen, but nevertheless, there is a greater danger of Yom HaMisa. The Malach HaMavis is after him. And even though he was Osek B'Torah, but he cannot be convinced and be absolutely ensured that the Yetzer Hara won't overcome him. And the Yetzer is going to distract him from Torah. And that's going to mean that he's back to the situation that he was in before of Chet and Yisurim. So his whole life, he's really in that fear of the unknown until the day of his death. And if he continues during his entire lifetime to be connected to Torah up until Yom HaMisa, then he'll be saved from everything, even from the Eino Yodea, the Eze Derech Mahalach. Now we have the Marsha. The Marsha comes to explain the Moshe. Adam HaMahalech bi'olam nitzom k'negdo shlosha mafrim ikorim. There are three major barriers that a person has to overcome in order to achieve spiritual perfection. Some are physical, and they are called kotzim, and the kotzim allude to the difficulties of food and parnasa, as it says, v'kotz v'dadar tatzmiach lecha. Then we get to pchasim. The pchasim is a mashal on falling down into Ber Shachas. And the Barkanim are a mashal for Cherev ha'oyev. And the Marsha proves each one of these premises. Now, an avuka can save a person at night, and if he has mitzvah, he's zochet to be mekayim a mitzvah, then he will achieve a protection against some of these very dangerous barriers that are common in this world. This world is compared to Laila. So the mitzvah allows him to achieve shleimus haguf and protects himself from the physical challenges, but he's still afraid of chayara and listim. And any yodea beis derech mahalach. These are mashal to two spiritual barriers that prevent a person from achieving spiritual perfection. And they are the Yetzer Hara, which is always a mashal for a chayara, and a chavara, which is bad social influence, and that's listim. The mitzvah does not have the power to go beyond shleimus haguf and to protect himself against the Yetzer Hara and against the chavara. But kevet sha'ol amud hashachar, after he has achieved the zchus haTorah, which is the perfection of his nefesh, then how great is the koach haTorah even against the Yetzer Hara and against the influences of a bad group of friends. And the Marsha quotes a Gemara in Sukkah Nun Beis that Paga b'cha menuvel zeh, if the Yetzer Hara gets a hold of you, mashchei lebeis hamedrash. And Torah will protect him from darchei harashoyim. This is based on a pasuk in Mishlei Perek Daled, Achazek b'musar el teref, v'orech rishoyim al tova. But he still needs to continue his Torah and his dedication to Torah until Yom HaMisa. And if he wasn't, shall I say, discontinued from his ongoing connection to Torah until Yom HaMisa, and then he'll be saved from everything. Dovar Acher, another explanation as to why the pasuk in Mishlei compares a mitzvah to a ner and Torah to or is avera mechabe mitzvah, the ein avera mechabe v'Torah. A ner could be extinguished with water. The water in this particular context is an allusion to those forces of avera. And the water can extinguish the candle, and the avera can extinguish the mitzvah. Now here, the Maharsha interprets the schar mitzvah. However, the avera does not extinguish the schar of Torah. Shenemar, mayim rabim lo yuchlu lechavos es ha'ava. And the word ava in this pasuk in Shir Hashirim is an allusion to the koach HaTorah. As it says, v'diglu alai ava. And the Torah is considered rishpeh eish v'shalheves ka. So the Torah is like the passionate fire that is represented by ava. So the averos are alluded to by the simile of water, and they cannot overcome and extinguish the Torah, because the Torah, it says, even mayim rabim lo yuchlu chavos es ha'av. Omar Rav Yosef, the zchus of a mitzvah can be great enough to protect her and save her life from the mayim morim. Rabbi Nachum, Rabbi Yossi said that a mitzvah is only protective lefisha on a very short-term, temporary basis. That's as far as saving a person from chet. Mitzvah be'idnet asik ba magna umatzla, but be'idnet lo asik ba igune magna, but itzule lo matzla. According to Rav Yosef, when a person is involved in a mitzvah at this moment in time that he's osek b'mitzvah, the mitzvah will protect him from punishment and from the Yetzer Hara. And the Yetzer Hara will not be able to be machshel him b'chet because he's involved in the mitzvah. However, he finishes the mitzvah, he's no longer involved in the mitzvah, then he will get some element of protection from punishment from Yisurim because of the schus of the mitzvah, but it would not protect him from the Yetzer Hara. So the protection from the Yetzer Hara is only at the moment that he is involved in the mitzvah. Torah, on the other hand, whether he's learning Torah now or he learned before, the Torah is always going to protect him from Yisurim, from punishment, and from the Yetzer Hara. Maskif la rabba elamei ata. If you're telling me that Torah protects a person from the Yetzer Hara, then doig v'achitofel milo aski b'Torah. These were great scholars. V'maylo hegina leah. Why didn't it prevent them from the influence of the Yetzer Hara? The Yetzer Hara was able to be machti them and make them into Rishoyim. And we have here in the notes, one second here, where is it? Chaf Beis. A Gemara in Chagiga Daf Tesvav. And the Gemara quotes Rav Ami is saying that Doeg and Achitofel would raise 300 questions like a Migdal HaPoreach Ba'avir. And they were great scholars. And Rav Yosef is saying that why is it? Well, actually, this is Rabba's question on Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, forget about Doeg v'Achitofel, because they had a tina belibam. It means they were Rishoyim, despite the fact that they dedicated themselves to Torah. That's the Shita of Rav Yosef, and therefore he's not impressed by this question of Rabbah. Rabbah, on the other hand, holds that Doeg v'Achitofel were not that kind of Rishoyim as Rav Yosef understood them, although they did have a Shalul Lishma in their study of Torah. It was not as bad as L'Shem Kintur, but rather L'Skabed Ulis Yair. And therefore, Rabbah assumes that certainly, as a result of their limud, although it's Shalol Lishma, there was an element of Lishma as well. And therefore, he asks the question on Rav Yosef, why is it that they fell prey to the Yetzer Hara? Elamar Rava. Rava comes up now with an alternate suggestion as to the distinction between Torah and mitzvah. Torah be'idna the asikba magnu matzla, be'idna de lo asikba igune migne tsuli lo matzla. I have to admit, says Rava, that although Torah supersedes mitzvah in its ability to protect a person from yisurim chet, and that means that even when he's not learning, he stops his learning, there's still a protection. But that protection, he says, is limited to protecting him from yisurim, from punishment. But it cannot overcome the Yetzer Hara. And that's why Doeg and Achitofel fell prey to the Yetzer Hara. But mitzvah, bein be'inna the asikba, bein be'inna the lo asikba, guri magne tzuli matzli. The mitzvah only has a power to protect him from yisurim, but not from chet and not from the Yetzer Hara. Ravina Amar Li Olam Schus Torah. You asked me why she, the Sotah, had a schus that was able to protect her. The Ka'amit, and you said that Eina Mitzvah V'yosa, that she's not obligated in the study of Torah. Levanecha v'lo lebnosecha. Says Ravina, Nehi de Pekude lo mafkida. Even though I cannot deny that she's exempt, but nevertheless, be agud de Makaryan umaslin b'nayu. She can still have a chelek in the Torah of her sons or her husband who are obligated to the mitzvah of Torah. How? And the answer is de Makrion umaslion b'nayu. They put in a great deal of Torah in their children to bring them to the Beis HaSefer so that their children could study Torah and Mishnah. And as far as their husbands, they send out their husbands to learn in the Beis Medrash in another city, and they wait for their husbands to return. Milo Palga and Badayu. Ravina asks a rhetorical question: do they not split the schar of this Torah? And therefore, they too, the women, have schus limud Torah vicariously through their sons and their husband. And that's the schus, that's Torah law. And now we get back to the Mashal Rabbi Nachem, Rabbi Yossi. My parshas drachim. Right, until now, we have explained the various parts of the Mashal of Rabbi Nachman about the person who's going in the derech, and it's night. But what is this parshas drachim? We compared the mitzvah to an avuka, to a torch. The Torah was compared to the or, the light of Hamud HaShachar. What is the nimshal of this concept called the parshas drachim? Omer Rav Chizda, Zeh Talmid Chacham v'Yom Misa. This is a mashal for a Talmid Chacham who dedicates himself to Torah mitzvahs, and when he reaches the end of his life, on that day of his death, he knows that he wasn't Poresh Min HaTorah, Lo parak ol me'at Torah. He had dedicated himself and was responsible for Torah all his days. And that's the Parshas Drachim, which clarifies any confusion about which derech to go on. Rav Nachbar Yitzchak Omar, the mashal of the Parshas Drachim, which clarifies, is the Talmud Chacham v'Yirei Shamayim, v'Yirei Chet. It's a metaphor for a person who not only is dedicated to Torah mitzvahs, but he's zoche to yiras chet, to the fear of sin. And this is called, in the language of the Ben Ish Chai, yiras haromimus, the awareness and the reverence for the eternal God. And through this, he's going to be saved for everything, because he has Torah, and through his Torah, he learns and he decides and he determines what is a mitzvah, what is an iser, what does he have to separate himself. And now he has yiras chet, and therefore he is protected from the Yetzer Hara. Mar Zutra Mar Zeh Talmud Chacham Gesalka Leishmai Tita Libed Ilchasa. A person can dedicate himself to Torah, but it doesn't mean that his colleagues will accept his halachic decisions and views and rulings. For that, he needs a special siyata d'shmaya. So the mashal is telling me that even though you might say, well, at one level, the Zchus HaTorah is going to save him and protect him from Yisurim and for the Yetzer Hara from Chet, but we still don't know, B'ezeh derech hu mahalech. Can he be zocha with siyata d'shmaya that his friends will accept his opinion and his oras did and his halacha kimishpat, and halacha will be like him? So he gets to a parshas drachim, which means that he was zocha that his friends accepted his horas din, and that parshas drachim is going to clarify any ambiguity about what level of Torah he achieved. Meaning, is he on the derech emes? Now, Reb Menachem Reb Yossi mentioned over acher avera mechabed mitzvah vein avera mechabed Torah, based on the pasuk Mayim Rabim lo yuchlu lechabos sa'ava, an avera cannot extinguish Torah. Omer Rav Yosef, Darshe Rabbi Menachem Reb Yossi lahai kra Sinai. Rabbi Menachem darshan this pasuk as if it was given, as it was given at Har Sinai. That's a compliment. Vilmole darshua doeg v'achitofel hachi lo rodfu basar David. If only Doeg and Achitofel had understood this pasuk of Mayim Rabim lo yuchlu lechabos es ha'ava, of how powerful it is to dedicate oneself to Torah in such a way that the Avera cannot extinguish the Torah, had they only known that, and had they only interpreted the pasuk in that way, then they never would have sinned. What sin are we talking about? They were Rodef David Amel. Dichsiv. What did they say about David? There's a pasuk in Tehillim Ayin Aleph. Lemar Elokim Azavo Ridfu V'Tifsu Ki Ein Matzil. What means that a person who has a relationship with an Ashes Ish, HaKadosh Baruch Hu leaves him, and he won't necessarily punish him because he seems to be delaying punishment. And if he doesn't have a zchus that'll save him, then that avera that he perpetrated will extinguish his zchuyos. Umay darush, and how do we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will depart, separated himself with the capital H from this chet if someone's guilty of Baal Eishes Ish? V'lo yir b'cha ervas davar v'shav me'acharecha. That if HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees a chet of ervas davar, then v'shav me'achrei asar v'ozev esachote. V'hein einam yodim shavera mechabe mitzvah, v'ein avera mechabe Torah. Which means that they thought that David HaMelech was already, chas v'shalom, rejected by Hashem, and that's why they were Rodef David. But they didn't realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not forsake David. He didn't, lo azvo, he didn't leave David alone and depart from David, because David has chus Torah, and his chus Torah, we have the principle of Ein Avera Mechaber Torah. Now the pasuk Mayim Rabim Lo Yuchlu Chabasava Es Ha'ava concludes with the following: Im Yitein Ish Es Kol Hon Beiso Bi'ava Boz Yavuzu Lo. So the Gemara now asks, "My Boz Yavuzu Lo." What does that pasuk refer to? The end of that pasuk. And the beginning of the pasuk we said is referring to Torah, that Mayim Rabim of Haveros cannot extinguish Torah. What's Boz Yavuzu Lo? Why is it that a person who comes to be Mavakish, that they give him Kol Hon Beso for Torah, Lehenos Mimenu Lelomdea V'Chachamea Yavozu Lo? I don't get it. If he has Hon Beso and he's Mavakish Torah, so he gives from Hon Beso for Lomde Torah and Chachmei Torah, is why Yavuzu Lo? Omar Ulaloki Shimon Achi Azariah. In the case of Azariah, who supported Shimon to Torah, then his Torah, meaning Shimon's Torah, is considered half Azariah's Torah. The Loker of Yochanan de Bein Nesiyah, and Boz Yavuzu Lo cannot be referring to those who supported Rabbi Yochanan, so that he could be Osek b'Torah. Ela kehil v'shevna, but rather like the partnership between Hillel and Shevna. The Chiasa Rav Dimi Omar Hillel v'Shevna Ache Havu, they were brothers. Hillel Osek b'Torah, and Hillel was poor as a church mouse. Shevna Oved Iska, Sheva, his brother, was out there doing business deals, and Lebasof, only at the end, Omar Le, then Shivna said to his brother Hillel, Ta Naro V'Nifla, come, my brother Hillel, and let's split the schar of your Torah. Hillel led his life as a poor person, and Shevna did not support him. And now at the end of his life, Shevna says, you know what? Now let's make a deal, and I'll split and get half of your schar. Yotza Baskol be Omra, the Baskol declared him, Yitein Ishas Kol Hon Beso, even if now, at the end of this whole relationship, Shevna is going to offer his whole house, his whole, all his wealth, his Boz Yavuzu Lo. Why? Because he should have supported Hillel from the get-go and supported and helped his brother Hillel from the beginning. Now he comes at the end, he's not going to get any of the schar.